Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to the Liberian Diaspora Forum Weekly Talk Show. Today is obviously Sunday, March 2nd, 2014, and the time is 3:10 Central Minnesota time, 4:10 East Coast, and I believe it's 10 after 9 p.m. in Liberia. I mentioned 10 after 9 p.m. in Liberia because that's where our guest is calling from right now. And interestingly, he will be introduced by a friend and a supporter, Coach Simu Sila of Atlanta, Georgia, who is here with us to introduce our guest. Well, Mr. Sila, I welcome you to the show. There's no need me calling the guest name, then there won't be a point for introduction. So, Mr. Sila, your line is open. Welcome to the show. You may begin a brief introduction of the guest, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kroma. First of all, I'd like to extend my thanks and appreciation to the organizers and members of the Liberia Diaspora Forum, one of the world's most prestigious media institutions that I have always admired. Let me go quickly to say that giving me the opportunity as former national team players, as founder of the Kasimu M. Sila Foundation, and also chairman of the sports committee of FEMUSA, also vice president of the Liberia Football Former National Team Player Association, and also international coordinator of the Pro USA, international coordinator of the Legend, comprised of farmers and present player of Liberia here in the United States. It is an opportunity for me more than what I've ever. Again, let me say that the gentleman I am above to introduce, he is the president of Barrow Young Controller called BYC 1 and 2. He is an academician, a sport promoter, a youth developer. He does that through sports and education. Also, he is a professor of the anthropology. He teaches at the anthropology department at the University of Liberia and chairman of the sociology department at the AME University, former principal and board chairman of the Wollasville Study Muslim Congress High School on Road, Liberia. Beyond all of that, the gentleman who likes to be called blank, and I will come back to it, has a tremendous experience in sports administration. He is charismatic. He has the ingenuity to make way out of no way in football development. Let's begin to say that there are qualities we look for in any leader or any job you want to occupy. Credibility, competency, and reliability. The gentlemen have all of the criteria that we need for a brother to serve. Let me come to a little bit of his history. BYC, from a third division team, now an icon in African football, beating Ashanti Kotoko from Ghana. BYC has two teams called BYC 1 was a premier and BYC 2 was a first division team. Now the Liberia Football Association have changed the nomenclature, whereby bringing premier team to first and bringing first to second. So now it's called BYC 1 and BYC 2. BYC 2 represented Liberia last year, and this year BYC 1 is the Liberia representative in the Africa World Cup competition, beating Ashanti Kotoko. One of the things that we want to critically look at is what the brother have done over the years that we as sports promoter, the lover of the game of football, will emphasize on is through his ingenuity as an academician, have created more university students in our 4th Division League. Today you have over 40, going to 50% of the BYC 1 and BYC 2 attending high school and University of Liberia. We know exactly football, psychological fitness is most important. So when the players are psychologically fit, then of course they can always react to even the system and theory of the game of football. So now we can boast that some Liberian players are now university students and can then be our future leaders. 2, job opportunity. Through Mr. Sekou, through the brother ingenuity and his willpower, we have over 400 employees under the BYC 1 and BYC 2. I'm talking about from 3rd Division all the way up to 1st and Premier. Now, one more thing that you want to say, a newly built soccer stadium, a mini turf field in the PHP area, an area that used to be a jail house is now turned to a recreational area, is now turned to a football stadium. That's very credible. Again, Mr. Blank, which I will call his name quickly, is one of the men when we talk about being reliable and credible and competent. When you want to look for a president that visits his team practices at every time, is the brother. He's always there 7 o'clock, making sure that the players are on time and the coaches are on time. So giving him the opportunity to serve as vice president for the administration, he will make sure that people are on their job and on time. Then, about game, we see sport administrators that head in the FA. I was just in Liberia for 2 weeks, for 2 months. I did not see other sports administrators at the football stadium. So if you are looking for the brother, just go on the football field and look on the barrow wing, now called the blue area. He's always sitting there. What you're going to see in his face is the smile and reception. Today, honorable members of the audience, distinguished personalities on the show, Liberians in and out of Liberia, the brother that appeared today is a credible brother that I will introduce. It's an opportunity for me today to introduce to you Sekou Konneh Ayatollah. He don't like to be called honorable. Sekou Konneh, commonly known as Ayatollah from his Muslim Congress day when he served as principal of Muslim Congress High School, and he left because of so many engagements. But by public demand, he was called back now to be chairman of the Muslim Congress High School and also president of BYC from 3rd Division to African Club Championship or Cup Winner Cup competition. My fellow Liberians, lover of Liberia football, I'm pleased and honored to introduce Sekou Konneh to the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Silla. Thank you, Kasimu Silla, for that powerful introduction. Mr. Konneh, are you still with me?
Yes, I'm still with you.
All right, great. Thank you. Now, once again, folks, a considerable number of you has just joined us. We are at 319 right now. So the number has not gone up by much, but I do want to recognize 16 of those 319 callers who are calling from Liberia. There are a bunch of Liberian numbers here. One that I've recognized already is the current Vice President for Administration of LFA, a position that Mr. Konneh wants. So the man who is there right now, and I believe he'd like to retain that, is on here. So I want to make it clear that we were not trying to set up a debate here. Had we known about, how we thought it that way, I would have certainly done it so. And I'm sure that would have been equally interesting, if not more, if not more interesting. But our intention was we were, contacted to bring Mr. Konneh on, and interestingly, your competitor is on here. We really appreciate him being here because hopefully you wouldn't mind that, because without that, you debate the mayor, you're going to have to do so at some point in time. So I want us to be mindful of that. He's here. We'll turn the floor over to Mr. Sekou Konneh Ayatollah, as we've been told, so he can begin his brief introductory remark, and shortly after that, we will also give, I forgot this gentleman named the current Vice President of Administration. We will also give him time if he has a word or two to say. Now, while all of this is happening, I've already opened up your question line, so if any of you have questions, comment, preconceived questions. If you came with questions for Mr. Konneh, and you don't even want to wait for him to make his introductory remark, by all means, please dial *61 on your phone. I see that a few people have done so already, so if you want to be ahead of the game, you can dial *61 on your phone, and as soon as Mr. Konneh is done, we will begin entertaining your questions. So with that said, Mr. Konneh, welcome to the microphone, your introductory remarks, sir.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I want to say good afternoon to our brothers and sisters who are listening to our program, and good evening to, my fellow Liberians who are also listening from our side here. And maybe just before I proceed, I would like to ask if I have a time limit, so that I'm very conscious of that, so I'm not taking all of the time.
Yeah, well, you are the invited guest today, and so your line will never be closed. Our two lines will remain open, but keep in mind that the longer you go on with introductory remark, it has been my experience that the more people get turned off. This is a caller-driven show, so if you keep your introductory remark to anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, no more than that, and then so we can involve other people by way of question and answer. I think that would be great, sir.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate that, because I will appreciate actually when it's more interactive than one person like me dominating.
Exactly.
But basically, again, my name is Sekou Konneh. I'm currently the president of BYC, and I'm also the former interim president of Invincible 11, for the record. Besides that, I'm currently an assistant professor in the Department of Sociology and Anthropology, and chairman of the Department of Anthropology and Sociology of the University of Liberia. And as a matter of fact, yesterday, March 1, made me 20 consecutive years lecturing at tertiary institutions. And I'd like to congratulate myself for that effort.
I'd like to congratulate you too. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And this is against the background that I, decided to come back to Liberia after my academic sojourn in Eastern Europe to contribute meaningfully to the development of our country. But actually, prior to going to the States, I started organizing my own, team long time ago. In the early 80s, I was the coach, the president of Bodywork United, a team that produced the likes of Thomas Kojo, Danisha Siwe, Nathaniel Napla, who's right now in Asia. And it's been my passion, it's been my life, and it's not just by mere accident that I was born and grew up just around the Soniwan community around the Anthony Totman Stadium. So everything that transpired that had to do with football at the Anthony Totman Stadium was something that I wanted to be part of. And then I came back to Liberia after studies in 1994, and then got associated with BYC, but it's a long history because BYC, I did not organize BYC. It was organized by a group of people, and I became part of them later from the 3rd Division and then 2nd Division and upwards to where it is right now. And it's been a rewarding experience actually being part of, this BYC family. And like I said, my life has been associated with football all along because if those who were associated with Invincible 11 can attest, the Anthony Gray, the late Strongman Namwe, who I just learned passed out, in the PHP community, I was always there because that was the center of Invincible 11. Having said that, it's important to stress, the length of time that I've been associated with football and the wealth of experience that I have acquired over the time. And I'm contesting, like you rightly said, the position of first vice president, or formerly was referred to as vice president for administration in the statutes of the Liberia Football Association. And I contested this position 4 years ago against Mr. Shannon and others who were 4 in a race, and I came close second to Mr. Shannon. But then at the time, I was one of the first. I think he is good at his listening, who can attest that in the very hall, when the result was announced, I immediately sent him a SMS congratulating him. And then a few days later, I traveled to the States on a conference at the United Nations. And while in the States, the inauguration was taking place, I also sent him a text extending, my support and willingness to cooperate and help in whatsoever way in, uplifting the game. And the basis of all of this was that, he was elected, Mr. Shannon was elected against the background of a big euphoria in our country that, footballers, those who play the game, should help in the administration of the game, those who play the game at the highest level. And I think that was something that was high on the agenda. And because of that, and I think Mr. Shannon was elected. But 4 years has passed since his election, and so we are coming to challenge, Mr. Shannon. And basically our question is, what can he show realistically, practically, that he has done for football, for the last 4 years? And we are coming to present to the stakeholders what we've done, what we've achieved for the last 4 years. I'm restricting it to the last 4 years specifically to just coincide with his tenure as first vice president or vice president for administration of the FA, what he can show. And specifically, what are we bringing, to the table? If you follow our game closely in the running of our game in the country, the issue of transparency in the running of the game has been a major problem in our country. Transparency in administering the affairs of the FA has been a major problem. And unfortunately, that has not changed since the last 4 years. There have been allegations, counter-allegations about, mismanagement of resources at the FA, the way, football is being run, at the FA. We bring in also, what is key to us is a people-centered administration, an administration that will constructively engage stakeholders and show respect to them. Because without the stakeholders who are spending the money, we think, frankly, football is not going to go anywhere in our country. And of course, that has been one major problem in our country, that the leadership does not have respect for the development of the game or those who are putting the money in the game. And we are coming with a key slogan: those who spend the money, those who are involved in the day-to-day running of football, who feel the pinch of what football development is, should be the one to run the football, because they understand. Like it's often said, you will never understand the feeling of somebody who's suffering from toothache unless you experience toothache. And that has been the problem. People in the leadership have not experienced running. Many of them have not spent money, the hard-earned money, on the running of the game, and that has been a major problem in the running of the game. So they have no respect for those who spend their money, who deprive their family of their daily earnings to be able to develop the game. But like I said, I believe in a participatory, form of dialogue. So I think I will be more, comfortable if people are asking questions and engaging. Then on the basis of that, I would like to rest there.
Okay.
And allow. Okay.
All right. Well said. Well said. Then, folks, we have just heard from our guest, Honorable Sekou Konneh, and I'm getting a lot of text messages here. Let me state for the record, I forgot, I didn't mention this at the beginning. My sincere apology. The first publicity, the first announcement that we put out there, somehow in our twisted mind, we have mistakenly said we're hosting Sekou Damati Konneh. So I'm getting a lot of text messages, questions about Lord. This is a different Sekou Konneh, people. This man, he's not two different Sekou. We made a mistake earlier and we corrected it. And so for those of you sending me text messages, no, this is not Sekou Damati Konneh. This is not the Lord, former Lord Chairman. So he wouldn't have any knowledge about that. And so please ask no questions regarding law. We're discussing football here. Now, Mr. Konneh, I like the fact that you said you want this to be engaging. So with that said, how about we hear from the man who currently has the position you want? Let's see what Mr. Shana has to say. Mr. Shana, welcome to the show. Once again, we are grateful to have you here. You've just heard your opponent, and I don't know if you care to say anything to that before we begin taking our regular questions.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to thank you and the Diaspora family for having me on this show. This is a very good program. It's a very good use of the media. In no particular order, first and foremost, I'd like to thank the BYC family again today for another a wonderful day of football. One of the most entertaining matches that we have seen in Liberia in recent time. I mean, we've all been around the game for a long time. And we wish them success in the Ivory Coast. So to Sekou, the president, and the BYC family, a big thank you to the technical staff and the players and everybody involved today. The organization, once again, was superb. Also to my friend and brother, Katsuma Sila, who was a big supporter of the Musa Shannon campaign 4 years ago. I understand it's a democratic process and he has his right to choose. I appreciate him being on this program. He's a man who does a lot for Liberian football. Just very, very quickly, not to take up too much time, it's late and we all had a long day. Me and Mr. Konneh contested 4 years ago, and I was fortunate to be the winner at that point. It was a very tough battle, and Mr. Konneh is very I look at him almost like a big brother. It's unfortunate that the politics of Liberian football has put me against him. We have a lot of different connections, and it's unfortunate that we are not on the same side, because I think together we could have been a more formidable force for Liberian football instead of having one of us not in the leadership of Liberian football. Unfortunately, the democratic process is as such, and we will be going to an election that will be free and fair, and the stakeholders again will decide, their fate and what they think is the best course forward for Liberian football. The only thing I have to say is that as vice president of the Liberian Football Association, I've done a tremendous amount of things. But Mr. Konneh is president of BYC, so he can speak of his accomplishments as president. I don't think he will want for his vice president to come on this show and speak of what he has accomplished, or he, Mr. Konneh, acknowledging that he has is aware of what his vice president accomplished. That is not the way football works. We don't have overlapping of function in football. So in the BYC family, Mr. Konneh will take a lot of credit for what BYC has accomplished, but his vice president will not be coming forward to speak. It's the same as the LFA. A lot of the things that I've done are behind the scenes, and the president of Liberian football, who we have together have built this Liberian football today that BYC 1 and 2 are flourishing, as well as so many other of the stakeholders have flourished under the ability of administration. It's a collective effort with the executive committee as well as the vice president and the president. So there are 2 vice presidents, and we all have served the president very loyally, and we hope that the stakeholders will continue to entrust us with their faith to continue to lead Liberian football. It's ironic that if there's problems with an institution, normally people like to remove the head. But unfortunately, I am the person that will be contesting in the election. I am not sure how much will be changed if you remove a vice president when he serves at the pleasure of the president, and the president has given him his full support. So moving forward into the campaign season, I'm sure the president of Liberian football will have some things to say about how much I mean to the institution like Liberian football. I'm sure the stakeholders will speak also to what I've done for a lot of people, mostly behind the scenes, mostly in policy and administration, mostly in changing the image and taking Liberian football on the international scene. I am the principal architect behind arranging 90% of Liberia's international friendlies due to my vast international connection and my international playing experiences. So not to take it further, because this is not a debate, as you rightfully said, Sekou is a big brother to me. Even he always treats me with a lot of respect, and I try to return that respect to him. And no matter who is the winner, Liberian football will still be victorious, because Mr. Konneh has done a lot for football, and even though I'm much, much younger than him, I also have dedicated my life to football, and I am a product of football. He grew up in the Soniwan community. I grew up on SD Copper Road, right next to SKD, and attended every single match through my childhood until I left Liberia for the U.S. during the war. So either way, Liberian football is the winner, and I guess it will be up to the stakeholders to decide who will be the next vice president. So I'd like to open the floor also to this program. I'd like to thank you for having me on short notice, and I'm more than willing to come back at any time. And I'd like to say hi to all my friends in Minnesota who know me up there, and hopefully I'll see you sometime in the summer, but not in the winter time.
You're not leaving us, are you? You're still on, right?
Yeah, I'm turning the floor back over to you.
Okay. That's why I thought you were leaving the show. Thank you. In fact, as a matter of fact, there's no doubt in my mind that you are both well-respected national leaders within our country. So I'm going to keep your line open.
I'm sorry, my brother. I did not mention my name. Maybe some people are not familiar. My name is Musa Shannon, former national team member of the famous We Are 11. People know me for the historical goal that I scored in Ghana. And, I just like to say again, sorry I didn't mention my name earlier.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shana. So I was saying that I'll keep your line open, trusting that you will not interrupt when our guests speak or people ask questions of either of you. So I'll keep your line open here. This should make the discussion interesting. After all, our guest, Honorable Konneh, has indicated that he's more interested in dialogue rather than just a textbook, a presentation format. Now, with that said, folks, it looks like we have the entire LFA on here tonight. I'm happy to report that the chairman of LFA, Honorable Musa Belete, is online listening. He likes to be a mere listener, not a participant. If he has to, he will speak. But Honorable Musa Belete has just joined us. He's online as well. And we have Honorable Musa Shana, the Vice President for Administration, the position that Mr. Sekou Konneh wants. So you have heard from Mr. Konneh, you've heard from Mr. Shana. And now I got so many of you waiting in the queue with questions, I believe. I will begin entertaining your questions. But as you know, I like to begin the question, for some reason. So let me ask the first question before we start taking all of your questions here. Mr. Konneh, thank you for your service. And let me once again congratulate you for your 20 years of service to Liberia and Liberians. But, I'm left wondering, for the length of time you've invested in sports, the length of time, you've been around football, I'm wondering, why are you contesting for the Vice President for Administration? Why don't you just contest for the chairmanship? Why not the main job itself? That's one. Two, well, all of your pre-occupation, you are the chairman for Anthropology Department, Sociology, Professor, President for BYC. How much time do you have to commit to this job if you were given a job?
Oh, thank you very much. Maybe I start from the bottom. I'm sure it doesn't matter to you.
No, it doesn't matter.
Well, Yeah, okay. Basically, if you listen to the intro, despite all of the engagement, I still spend my life in football. If I tell you, and that will interest you to know, and I'm sure Musa can attest to that, I wake up every morning from my house, drop my kids to school. The first thing I do is to drop at the training session of my team to see what's going on. And I like that hands-on thing because if there are problems there, instead of waiting through the bureaucracy for the technical staff to make a report, request and all of these things, I solve the problems right on the ground, through our relevant structures. So I have more than time because it's part and parcel of my life. Even the academic activities that I'm involved with, it's so much linked to football, and that's why I've one of the key things that I've done is to encourage our young people to go to school, and use my case as as an example. The fact that I grew up in a slum community and I play football, but I still found time for school. But what I've encouraged them, and a lot of them are on scholarship at the university through my instrumentality, is that there is life after football. It's important for us to link that because, unfortunately, that has been one of our major problems in this country. Most of our footballers have not taken, school as something very serious. So the fact that I am, an academician, and I link them and I'm involved in the day-to-day running of, football, makes, our young people to believe that you are able to blend the two. You can play sports and at the same time, get involved into, academic activities, something that you're going to live on afterwards, right? The first question of why not the presidency, I think it's a process, and despite all of my skills, despite my academic background, I still feel it's a learning process, right? In as much as I have a lot to offer, but I also have a lot to learn, and that, for me, those two things are mutually, important to link. So I think I contested for this position, and the reason I've stressed is that the Secretariat of the Football Association of Football is responsible, is one of the key arms in the running of the game. But the weaknesses that we see, some of the challenges are because we've not been able to strengthen, and there's a link. There's a dialectical link between, the office of Vice President for Administration and the Secretariat that runs the day-to-day activity of the thing. So I think, logically, once I'm able to strengthen that, in time to come, if I contest for, the position of President of the FA, then I think, obviously, I would have strengthened already the body responsible to, the body is considered as the engine of running, football in Liberia.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We'll leave it at that. We'll take some questions. Folks, to those of you who just joining us, let me welcome you to the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show. We have with us today the authorities of Liberia Football Association. That's how I like to call it. We have the Vice President for Administration, Mr. Musa Shana, and we also have LFA Chairman Honorable Musa Belete here just to listen. Also with us, our guest for the day, we cannot forget that, is Honorable Sekou Konneh, who is a candidate for the position of Vice President for Administration. We have heard from him, and we've also heard from the sitting Vice President for Administration. So we'll now begin taking your questions. And those of you who have questions and don't know how to get them through, please dial *61 on your phone. And your questions will come over here, and we'll get it to whether it's for the current sitting Vice President for Administration or it's for Mr. Konneh, who wants the job. Please keep the questions coming. Our first caller for tonight will be 2929. Would you please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question for Mr. Konneh or Mr. Shana? 2929. Your name, where you're calling from, your question.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, my name is Gabriel Nimle. I'm in Ohio. And I want to ask the Brother Konneh, very briefly, you speak of transparency, but it's a little bit vague. What does that mean? Because the Liberian Football Association, some of us have known that thing for years. So when you talk about transparency vis-a-vis your election, if you're elected a vice president, what are you talking about? Just very briefly, briefly.
Okay. Is that a question, Mr. Nimle?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Konneh, what does transparency mean to you?
Well, firstly, I would like to say good evening to Mr. Gabriel Q. Nimle. I'm sure Mr. Nimle is the former information minister in the LWAL PRC government.
That is correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is him. Yeah, that's correct. That's him. Yeah.
Okay. The tone of his question reminds me of his commentary during those days. You know, he was one of our best sports commentators in Liberia. Mr. Nimle, I am sure you've been, out of here for a while, but not, I'm sure you're following the game. Actually, for example, one of the key things when I mention transparency is that if I may maybe just maybe paraphrase what Mikhail Gorbachev called perestroika, and what that means is openness, transparency. We're talking about openness in the running. People have committed resources into running, clubs in this country, right? The FA is the arm of government responsible for the running of. I'll give you an example. Mr. Shannon mentioned about, being responsible for 90% of Liberia's international friendlies. That's correct. But what can he say the Liberian people know, for example, about, what we got from those besides, just playing the game in terms of dollars and cents, where we got from those, international friendly. I can give you an example. Recently, our players were risked, and I literally mean risk, to go into Iraq to play, and some of those players came from my team, and they explained about the horror of passing through I don't know how many checkpoints to go to Iraq to go and play in Baghdad or where in Iraq to go and play an international friendly. Firstly, we think that was an adventurous, move, because you are risking the life of people into a war zone. But that's not the point. The issue I mean by transparency, nobody up to this time has heard from the FA in terms of dollars and cents what we got for appearance fee, because international friendlies are organized. One of the objectives besides testing your team and players is to be able to raise money. The FA right now, for the last 4 years, has been struggling financially. So if you organize an international friendly, how many percent of that amount goes to helping the running of the game, or what goes to the players? There are many examples of those international friendlies, but nobody knows exactly what happened in that case. There is an example of a boss. It's good that the FA president is on the line, who announced that the FA was able to purchase a 24-seated bus for the national team. Unfortunately, that bus, players were on that bus going to training session when they were put down from the bus because the vendors or the owners who they claimed they bought the bus from claimed that they did not pay all the money for the bus. And that bus, as I explained to you, up to where we are today, nobody can provide any explanation. So if we are stakeholders, those are examples of what I'm talking about openness. We need to be open about how we run the game. Then we have trust. because it's on the basis of some of those things that we find it very difficult, extremely difficult to attract sponsorship from donors, from, corporate institutions, because some of those corporate institutions don't trust the way we run the game. So that's my answer in explaining what I mean.
Thank you. In the process of answering that question, you made some very strong allegations, transparency, FA, financial standing, an attempt to send players to Iraq recently for a friendly match. I wonder whether Mr. Shana has anything to say about any of those. Mr. Shana, are you still with us?
Yes, of course. It's ironic that when one person will sacrifice for the better of an institution is termed to be dangerous and putting people's lives at risk. I do recall 10 to 15 years ago to come to Liberia to play football for free on our own dollar in a country that most of the world considered to be dangerous, our own country, Liberia, but life also at risk. And I didn't see Mr. Konneh raising any issue about players coming and risking their lives. So I think I'm not sure what is the issue, if he is concerned about the livelihood of his player, or if he was concerned about transparency of the LFA. So I would like to assume the most optimistic assumption, which is he wants to say LFA is not transparent. It's a mystery to me that Mr. Konneh would say that. He's one of the most people in the LFA. He frequents the office of the president and myself, and I've never heard any allegation from him pertaining to transparency. So it behooves me that he will raise that issue, maybe as some political maneuver, but nevertheless, the records are there. We have auditors, internal and external auditors. We have stakeholders, and the trip to Iraq was a very good trip. We won the match, and Liberian football received $60,000. And there was a report that was submitted to the executive committee and the office of the president. And we've also been to Equatorial Guinea, and we've also traveled to Yemen. So these countries are maybe perceived as difficult places, but the trips were very successful for Liberian football. And we will continue to try to play international friendlies. Some people see Liberia as a difficult venue. I mean, today we had the Ivorian national champion that were in at the ATS. I'm sure they believe coming to Liberia could have been a difficult trip. But football transcends all of that politics. We were very well treated by the Iraqi government. We had 24-hour security in the fortified green zone, and there was no incident pertaining to the Liberian national team. Everybody was safe and sound, and the trip was a very successful trip where Liberia won the match, and for the first time in the Middle East, we won a match. So I'm not sure what is the issue, if it's security or transparency, but I'm sure Mr. Konneh will elaborate. And 4 years running on, there is nobody in stakeholder that has accused LFA of any dubious activities. So it's very surprising to me that Mr. Konneh will speak of transparency. We are a public institution, and we receive taxpayer money at times, and we also receive money from sponsors, and one of our sponsors renewed their contract. I think if there was any problem with transparency, Sekou, which is one of our primary sponsors, would not renew the contract. The National Oil Company is a consistent sponsor of Liberian football. I'm sure if there was any issue, they would not continue to give us money. Mr. Billity and myself are credible business people in Liberian society. So I think the accusation or the conversation is a bit of a political maneuver. And
Mr. Shonado, let me interrupt you very quickly here. The allegation of lack of transparency at the FA is not only coming from Mr. Konneh. I remember a few months back, I believe actually it was last year, in New Year there, we had the privilege of hosting Liberia Celebrated Star, Honorable James Salisa Diba, who was considering contesting FA chairmanship at the time, and the audios are up on YouTube. He came on this show. He made the same allegation. So it's not just Mr. Konneh saying. So are you saying that Diba was wrong, just as Mr. Konneh is wrong right now?
All I'm saying, Mr. Host, is that people can say whatever they want to say. It's their right, and we respect that. But until you can present tangible evidence in terms of documentation or audit reports or anything that is substantial, I would assume that whatever they're saying is political maneuvering.
Okay. All right. folks, I think the question of transparency has sparked a little more discussion here. Now, the chairman of LFA, Honorable Musa Belete, would like to address this transparency. I just been notified about that. So, but I do have a caller within the queue here. There's several callers here, but this one from Liberia, we usually give them preference. I'm not even sure if that's the honorable chairman or if someone else. But I'll take the Liberia caller. Hopefully that's the chairman, and so we can address the issue of transparency, and then we'll keep going. If those of you who just joining us again, please keep dialing *61 if you got a question, comment, or concern. We'll take your questions over to the men we have on tonight. *61 on your phone. That's what you need. 2533, Liberia caller, 231 country code. 2533. Your name, where you calling from, or what part of Liberia you calling from? Your question. Hello? 2533.
Hello.
Hello, is this Mr. Benedict? Hello? 2533. Hello, who is this? 2533. Your name, where you calling from? Your question.
My name is Sekou, and I'm calling from Monrovia.
Okay, Sekou calling from Monrovia. Welcome to the show. What's your concern, comment, or question?
Thank you. First of all, let me just start with a comment, of accommodation. I would like to use the medium to extend my, to commend Honorable Sekou Konneh, though he doesn't like the name Honorable, for his good leadership. I was one of the students when he was a principal of Muslim Congress. And also, I admire Mr. Shannon for admitting that indeed Mr. Konneh is a good leader and he's a senior brother, and he's, also recognize his hard work. But my question to Mr. Konneh is this. You claim that the LFA is corrupt in a sense because once there's no transparency, that means that there is a corruption somehow. And as an executive member of LFA and a man who contested and right after giving the result of the election, you also congratulated your opponent. What have you been doing in order to guide the leadership of LFA? What have you done? What have you been doing in terms of advising Mr. Shannon on how to govern, if indeed what you said that you are a cooperative leader? What are we doing in talking to Mr. Belete to guide him with the expertise to see how best he can move the city, to see how best he can move LFA forward? That's one question. The two question, there have been allegations of no transparency. Is it the fault of the entire leadership or the vice president of administration? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Konneh. Your question. Go ahead, your answers, rather. Yeah.
Well, maybe I will start with the last one. Whether it is the fault of the vice president for administration. Look, I'm going to be blunt here. The issue is we are talking about collective responsibility. It is the entire leadership that is being, put to test. This election is like a referendum, on the leadership, the leadership. Look, I just let you know, I'm sure you in Monrovia are following. The president, in his press conference recently, said he's going to support, his friends, in re-electing them, etc., etc. But one of those friends he's talking about, of course, it's Mr. Shannon. He talked about the history of their relationship. But the issue I raise is not an issue that is new. It's been in the press. It's been all over. Even the current vice president for operations just, served long suspension because of critical issues he's raised on some of those same issues of transparency, some of the same issue of leadership style and all of those things. So what we are talking about, the election is not just about I'm contesting against Mr. Shannon, but all of the executive committees are being challenged. All members of the executive committee are being challenged. It is only the president who's who's off the hook right now. But all of the executive committee and 2 vice presidents are being challenged, and that says millions about, their leadership. If we're comfortable with their leadership, then I'm sure we will not be challenging all of them. So it's not just Musa Shana. Mr. Shana is just one of the many persons in the leadership that have been challenged right now, right? And you talk the first question about what have been my level of involvement or engagement. The president can attest. Mr. Shana can attest about how much I've been involved with. I'm critical, but at the same time, I'm very constructive. The president is on the line. He can attest to that. That I've gone to him on several issues. There was the issue of the suspension of a member of the executive committee, Rochelle. I engaged them privately, and when nobody could listen to me, I engaged them publicly on those issues. So yes, it's my style. I engage them because I think this thing is not any one person's private domain. It's something that is for the public, and that's why when things go wrong, we challenge them.
Okay. All right. Now let's hear from the chairman, Honorable Musa Belete. He wants to address this issue of transparency. Mr. Belete, it's an honor to have you on again for this 3rd or 4th time. Welcome to the show, sir.
Good evening. Good evening to everybody. I hope I'm clear.
Yeah, you are very clear, sir.
All right. I think I chose, like I told you, my first option was, in fact, I just wanted to listen without being announced, and I thought that was not fair that everybody should know that I'm on. And then I listened to the both sides of the debate, and I have this to say. It is difficult, and I fully agree with Mr. Konneh that the election is a referendum. And in football, it's a referendum on the president. In our statute, it will interest you to know that the statute does not have a single responsibility stated for the vice president, any one of them. The responsibilities of the vice president of the Liberia Football Association are those that are given to them by the president. I've said this, and I've said that this is why everything that I've done, that I have credit for, I have them to say that these are my unsung heroes. Everything that I take blame for, they are also blamed for it. Now, I just wanted to mention more than anything else 2 things, which Mr. Konneh himself has also mentioned. I do not hide my intention to support someone who has been very loyal to me, who has been my principal deputy, and who has executed 99.9% of everything he has done in the LFA are those that I have told him to do. If he has gone wrong, it's me. If he has done right, it's me. I think what happens in our society is that people like Musa Chano will only take the blame, but the glory will come to, for instance, me as president. That's how it is. But on the issue of transparency, I was very shocked because I would have remained silent to listen, to educate myself on the issues here. But I think Mr. Konneh is wrong to say that there is an issue of transparency in this LFA. And to also say that this LFA is struggling. This is not an LFA that is struggling. This is an LFA that is doing extremely well. It's an LFA that has run a league as far as Mr. Sekou Konneh is concerned since he started running football for the last 20 years. It is only under this LFA that his club has never written one check to LFA. But there's a league going. Even if he gets a yellow card, LFA pays. Even if his club is registered, LFA pays the registration. everything that had to do with the administration of the game has been fully paid for by this LFA and through our commercialization. This LFA is the only LFA that I know of that has been fully transparent. We have reported 3 times for the last 3 years, and we are about to do the 4th time, where we have audited financial statements presented to our stakeholders. And all of those have been done with respect and dignity. This is the only LFA where no stakeholder can complain that they have no access to the leadership. So the stakeholders have more respect now than they've ever had. Even here, Mr. Konneh, we admit to the fact that we gave undue recognition because we believe that it is the stakeholder that gave us the job that we have.
Hello? Okay, it looked like we just lost Mr. Ability. The line just dropped. So obviously he's going to make a comeback. But while we are waiting to make a comeback, Mr. Konneh, so there you have it. As far as lack of transparency in LFA, the current leadership of LFA outrightly reject that. Do you have anything further to add?
Well, I mean, I think I was very clear on those issues that I mentioned. And, it's quite unfortunate. But the realities are there. Stakeholders, that's why in March of this year, March 22nd of this year, like I said, there's going to be a referendum. And clearly, the stakeholders are going to show what their feelings are about, the way football is being run. The issue, stability, all of those explanations for stability are just, done. We think they are only intended, to romanticize the issue. But I mean, there has been issues upon issues, and I mentioned the issue of the boss. I mean, let somebody clarify that to me. And to even say that there were reports about what was, from, those international games and reported to the executive committee. Maybe it was reported to the executive committee, but that did not come to the, And then, what is key, what I want to respond to here and key, he mentioned that in the current statute, there is no responsibility for, the vice president. But I want to disagree because that statute the new statute was just approved. Because if that was not the case, there would be no need for vice president. And 4 years ago, all the 2 vice presidents, or those who contested on the basis of what they were going to do. 4 years ago. So going back to that now and evaluate, this is not just about collective leadership and just about collective leadership and collective responsibility. Each and every member of the executive committee, the president and the 2 vice presidents included, will have to say exactly what they did. Because they were not elected on one ticket. Each person was elected on the basis of what he said he was going to do. And that's why I don't want people hiding behind this issue of collective leadership. I want people to explain in their individual roles and individual capacities what they did.
Okay. All right, Mr. Konneh, let's hear from another caller. Let's take 5608, 5608. Your name, where are you calling from, and your question for Mr. Sekou Konneh, candidate for LFA Vice President for Administration. We also have Mr. Musa Shana on here, who is the current Vice President for Administration. So 5608, tell us your name, where are you calling from, and your question, comment, or concern.
My name is Musa Willie. I'm calling from Coatesville, Pennsylvania. I want to say thank you to Mr. Konneh for coming on the show, and Mr. Shano, and the rest of the LDF folks that are online. Before I give my question, I just want to make a.
Mr. Willie, hold on for a second. We just lost Mr. Konneh. Mr. Konneh line just went off here.
Oh, okay.
And if the question is intended for him, I think we better wait for him to come. Otherwise, it's not going to get a line just dropped. So, Mr. LFA Chairman on mobility has now come back, and Mr. Konneh line just dropped. So that leaves us with Honorable Shana, who stay with us. Mr. Shana, while we await your colleagues to arrive here, do you have anything to add to all of what's been said so far? Hello, Mr. Shana? Mr. Willie, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm on myself. Oh, yeah, sorry, I got Mr. Shana line closed. That's why. Mr. Shana, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. So did you hear my question? Do you have anything to add to all of what's been said so far while we await your colleagues to come back on?
Well, like I said from the beginning, this is a rich discussion. Mr. Konneh has a vast experience in Liberian football, and we appreciate everything that he has to say. We work for the stakeholders, so we listen to them. We just like to make sure that some of the allegations are clear and that they are fair also, because, when you are contesting a position, sometimes you tend to want to spice up the pot. But nevertheless, the president of Liberian football, Mr. Bility, spoke clearly. And, we will run and we'll continue to work for the best interest of Liberian football. It's not an easy job. It's a difficult job, but we have gained 4 years of experience, and we can only get better.
Yeah,
Musa Willie, you got a question for Mr. Shana?
No, I mean, just...
Okay.
Yes, I got a question before Mr. Konneh come in. Let me just add Mr. Shana.
Yeah.
They issued about the bus. Mr. Konneh made an allegation about some type of bus that Lone Star player was asked to get off the bus. Mr. Shana, do you have any idea about that?
Yeah, that incident did occur. There was nothing untransparent about it. We entered into an agreement to purchase a bus, and later on we decided that we were going to pull out of the agreement, and the action of the vendor was to retrieve his property immediately, and we decided to purchase a bus that was more affordable, one that is currently available at the Liberian Football Association, one that is being used by one of our club's Red Lions, and one that is in perfect working condition. So these are normal day-to-day business transactions that sometimes people tend to blow out of proportion. And there was nothing illicit or illegal that took place. And the records, again, are at the LFA. What is surprising to me is that if Mr. Konneh has any issues, he has access to all of the presidents in LFA as well as the secretariat, and all of the documents there are for public records. So, again, I hope I've made this issue with the bus very, very clear.
Okay, I think you have. We still don't have any of the two men online, and so I'm gonna go into a short break, and while we do so, okay, Mr. Konneh calling me now, so let's take him, please. Yeah, welcome back to the show. You probably run about, is it the 1 hour limit or the credit issue? Whatever it was, I want to welcome you back to the show. We were waiting for your quick return. So we still got Mr. Willie from Pittsburgh, who was about to ask his questions. So we will go back to him. Before I do so, folks, there's so many of you here, and I don't know why you are slow with your questions. So once again, let me invite you to dial *61 *61 on your phone if you have any question, comment, or concern. Come on. Are you not interested in LFA feature? It starts a Liberia feature, So please dial *61 on your phone, and we'll take your questions over here. For next week, we will be hosting Honorable Professor Larry Togba. This is the first time I mentioned that. We need to remind you of that. Next week, Sunday, we'll have Professor Larry Togba on here, obviously discussing politics. When we narrow down the topic, we will let you know. So let's go back to Mr. Willie. Mr. Willie, you may now ask your questions, and Mr. Konneh is back with us.
Yeah, like I said, I want to make a brief remark. Thank you to Mr. Konneh. I mean, He was one of the principals for a school that I attended, and I also worked with him briefly when I graduated from high school, so that I know his leadership capability. But let me just go to when some of us getting prepared for this conference tonight, we did not know that it was going to be LFA executive was going to be participating. So I thought it was just like Mr. Konneh coming to give his platform and tell the Liberian people what he have done. But it's turning into a debate which might not give us the opportunity to listen to his platform. So if I will appeal to you tonight to allow Mr. Konneh to give his platform and to tell the Liberian people what have he done and why they should entrust him with the LFA position, even though not everybody have voting right within the LFA, but I think it is about Liberia, it is our country, so we have a stake in it. So if you will, we already done it, but if it is possible for the rest of the LFA executives to just allow him to talk. If he raised any contentious issue that need for the both of them to come back and debate it, I think it's something that we can look at. However, it is your show. You can decide how to run it. Now,
definitely. For the record, when Mr. Konneh came on here, as we do with all of our guests, you included, when you've been the guest on this show, Mr. Konneh was given time to present his platform, and he did so eloquently. He indicated to us that he's more interested in a dialogue, interactive discussion, which we are also very much pro, fond of, and so that's how we got to where we are. I think he just came on the show, but he did present his platform in part. Obviously, you know that taking noon hours of presentation here will not only put people to sleep, but it will actually drive some people off the line. LFA chairman has been on this show 2 or 3 times. He came here once to talk LFA. He also came here another time to talk about the airport saga, the secret recording and all of that. So as a result, LFA chairman is in our database. So every time we send out information, it goes to him, just as it goes to you. So, and that's how they end up being on the show. There were no formal invitations sent to come open a debate, but we were glad that they came, so we all welcomed the idea, including Mr. Konneh himself. He's online, to prove me wrong, if it is so. So that's where we are, Mr. Willie.
All right, thank you very much for the clarification. But then my question would be sports development. Mr. Konneh, I mean, Liberia, we have had the problem of sustainability, continuity, and transparency that you talked about earlier. But I'm one person who believes in sustainability and continuity in an institution. And in order to do that, you have to start from the grassroots. What is your plan for youth soccer development?
Well, thank you very much. What is key, like I said, I want to lead by example. If you look at the BYC setup right now, it's one of the best in the country right now. And the reason for this is that we've been able to structure the organization in such a way that it allows, first and foremost, for youth development. We have 2 teams. We run 2 teams. We have a feeder club called BYC2 that is participating in the 2nd Division League. Last year, they represented Liberia because they became, even though they're a 2nd Division team, but they became the winner of the FA Cup. The FA Cup brought together, at that time it was Premier clubs, or what we now call 1st Division clubs, and they won the final against Watanga FC and represented Liberia. And they were able to set the record as the first Liberian team in a decade that was able to win on Liberian soil, Liberian club team. And they went as far as the second round, buying out against Azam FC, a premier club in Tanzania. All right? What we do is that we recruit, we go to the county meet, for example, we go to local communities, we create, an opportunity for, talented youth to come and, talented young people to come and showcase their talent, and we recruit them into the 2nd team. And when they stay in the second team like one or 2 years, they are promoted based on performances. They are promoted to the second team. So grassroots football is one of the cardinal pillars in our, drive to the FA. And for the record also, it's important to state here that I'm a former executive committee member of the LFA. I mean, before this leadership came. And what we did, we were able under our leadership because I was the chairman of the youth committee. Our committee was able to organize a youth scouting program where we identify local coaches. We have teams from maybe we'll call it from the region, for the sake of maybe understanding the international context. But we have what we call subcommittees in local communities. They got those guys representing the FA who run the league. We asked each of those subcommittees to organize an all-star team of their best players. When they selected those players then came together to form an all-star team under 20 all-star, under 17 all-star, and they went against an all-star team from Great Barrack. So we're able to organize that, the first in its history. So we think grassroots football is fundamental to the development of the game, and that's why our team has been so successful, because we model it after, this kind of program that is helping, young people pass through stages to be able to reach where they are.
Okay, thank you. 7255, I know you've been waiting in the queue for a long, long time. I'll take you next, but I believe we have both Honorable Musa Shana and Musa Belete on here. So, Honorable Belete was speaking when his line went off, so I believe he came by with different number. I'm going to go back to him so he can conclude his discussion on transparency in LFA, and right after that, I'll take 7255, just so you know. Don't leave. You've been here for a long time. So let's. I believe this is Honorable Belete here. Mr. Belete?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being out there in your presentation. As I was speaking, I said that what we've done is nothing. I'm not saying this is the best LFA, but there's no LFA in the history of the Republic of Liberia that is compared to this LFA on so many fronts. For the first time, we are running a league that instead of club paying money to LFA, it is we that pay money to clubs. This LFA. For the first time, we had, as part of our development program, we're taking the league across the country. Now we have what we call regional league, where all of the regions are playing so that the best teams will qualify for our second division league. We've developed we brought in so many development. And again, honestly speaking to you, I want to insist that the past president...
there's a background noise, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, no, not behind. That the past president is always does only what the president tells him to do. He cannot do more than that. So unless we are going to set up for confusion, otherwise it's going to be difficult. Except if Mr. Konneh is going to campaign to say that he is in support of Musa Belete agenda, he is in support of Musa Belete ideas, and Musa Belete has been a good president. Because it is a bad president in football or anything else. It's only there to do the things that the president asks him to do. Otherwise, he just has to wait until the president gets sick or a president leaves office under other conditions before he can be president. So it's difficult in football, and I don't even know why they did it this way. But it's difficult for an individual to run as vice president against another vice president who is the vice president of the sitting president, because it makes it difficult for Mr. Konneh, because now whatever things he brought there's no way, not by the book or by my enemy, that he can execute that change. Because he has to do only the things I say he must do, and that he cannot move until I ask him to move. He cannot do anything until I ask him to do it. Even if he brings, and I know he has brilliant ideas. He has one of the best clubs. He's a good administrator, but he cannot campaign to say that LFA is not transparent for most ability. But what can the vice president do? Nothing. The vice president is the vice president. He's the vice to the president. He cannot do anything. And what the president asked him to do, that's what he does. So I just wanted to close by saying that I want to challenge anybody. The Liberian Football Association, under our leadership, is the most transparent and most progressive. I want everybody to show me anything more. The last government, the last regime, we had people registering almost $50,000, $25,000 for registration, $25,000 for indemnity. For the past 4 years, people are registering with zero. We gave club money, some of them $1,000, some of them $2,000. We gave club money to say, go and buy boots. The first year we came, we divided boots. Second year, sometimes we get 500. Some of them will give 100, some of them will get 2. But at least we're giving money. We have never taken one check for any club. We developed this organization to the extent that we go out there and fetch money. And who's doing that? Musa Shano. Musa Shano is the one that's going. When I tell you that Musa, I want money, he goes around, he writes a business idea. So it's difficult. It's very difficult to make the rules to the extent that.
So, Mr. Chairman, just so we are clear about this, you've attested to the management skill and some brilliant ideas on the part of Mr. Konneh, which you know of. But you've also said even if you were to win the election and came on board, that he really would not have zero chance of implementing any of them because he only has to do what the president asks him to do. Is that what he's saying?
That's correct. Because I'm saying that because Mr. Konneh said that he is coming, that there's no respect for stakeholder, that there's no transparency. There's nothing he can do about that unless if he says that he can institute change with a president and he campaigned to say that this president, this administration is not good. How does he intend to institute his idea when I'm the one who's supposed to say, okay, go ahead and do it?
Okay. All right, Mr. Benedict, we could push that issue a little further, but if you are done, we'll leave it there. Take some questions here. And now that you've introduced that part, I will not be surprised if some questions come your way. As a matter of fact, I got a lot of questions for you on my own.
I'll be more than happy to answer.
Right, but I do not want to, digress so radically. So we'll leave it at that. Let's take some callers here and see what they think, what they have to say. 7255. I promise to take you next, and so I'm ready for you. 7255. Please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question, comment, or concern for Mr. Sekou Konneh, Mr. Musa Shana, and Honorable Musa Belete. Any two of them, comment, concern, or question. Welcome to the show. Your name, where you calling from?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Foliboli Kroma. I'm calling from Chester, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I'm so happy that I have an opportunity to interact with LFA current sitting administration and then a person who is interested in joining the team. First of all, my concern is since we have current guys, they will be able to address. I know it's very expensive to run a soccer club or football association. It's very, very expensive, associated with the Managerial Sport Association before, and then I know why it is. the issue about player transferring from one team to another, was a very, very pressing concern about me at the time when I associated with the managerial sports team, because when the team administrators spend huge amount of money to train their athletes, and then after training their stars, after some time, some big name at the time, maybe Barrack or IU will come, and then they just snatch that players away until little or nothing. I think it was $2,000, $2,500 or $2,000, something like that, $1,000, and then they take your player away. Okay, that was for me something. It was something that discouraged football or soccer sponsorship, because we didn't get any money at the time. So what is being done currently to see whether people who spend their hard earned to sponsor or to support teams to train players, what is being done to take care of that, so that at least they can get some return for the money that they have been spending, to keep the soccer clubs going. I know Musa has just said that Beretina has said that they have been doing a lot to help the teams out when it comes to some of the expenditures, but it goes far beyond that. When you are in the soccer business rather. So, and then besides, I wanted to ask the question. The Sekou Konneh trying to come in. I wanted to ask the question: what new can you bring on the table? Because I just came from Liberia. I also observed that the attendance to soccer games, I think is dropping from what I observed. Not too many people going to games to watch the games. So what is there? What are you bringing on board? But because the president has said, the sitting president has said that there's nothing much you can do. You can only execute what is being assigned to you. So I'm kind of confused. I don't know if you really, really want to make a difference. And it seems that you are already at loggerhead with the current president, who I may say is running unopposed. So anybody can kick in on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Konneh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what new are you bringing, and especially so, just like you rightly stated, knowing now that none of your idea will really go anywhere, because we've been told that you are only allowed to do what you are instructed to do. So that kills your own ideas and creativity right there. So knowing that, does that change your position from contesting this position? If not, then his question is, what do you have different? What new are you bringing to the table?
Yeah, thank you very much. What I want to do is to link what he had said to what the FA president said earlier about the issue of the position of vice president. I think he's getting it wrong. Firstly, I totally agree the way the statute is structured, that yes, the president has to work closely with the vice president. But what the president is getting wrong is the fact that we are not coming to open a boxing ring. No. The issues are people, who are currently working with him are not, challenging him in a positive sense. What do I mean? For example, there was a case that I mentioned earlier about this, the suspension of one of the executive committee members, Rochelle Woodson. All of the executive committee members sat in a meeting and just agreed and said, well, they all voted and allowed it, when they knew that, this was a pure violation. Now, what we want to do is that, look, Musa is a friend just like the others, but it's to be able to challenge him to think beyond just people who are just going to say, oh, yes, let's do it this way. We say no. And the point is, Mr. President, you want it done this way. But look at the statute. The statute is saying this, the statute is saying that. If we don't follow this, at the end, it's going to backfire. And that's exactly what happened. Challenging that they needed to think beyond what is. Emotionally making a decision and just offending somebody, and that issue went as far as FIFA. And eventually what happened? That suspension was lifted because the procedure was illegal. So what we are saying is that, no, we don't follow those instructions, say what we need to do, but those things that we think are not doable, we want an executive committee that will help the president to critically think. Because what has been our problem in this country in the past has been that it's not been the issue of our leaders, it's the issue of those of us who surround the leaders, who are not challenging the leaders to think critically, to think about the consequences of the decision, and we just allow them. Then when they are booted off tomorrow, like what has happened in our government in the past, then you start to criticize that I want. So what we want is to, engage the president. That if he wants us to do this, yes, we want to, we want to do them, but we ask questions. And the current executive committee is not asking questions. The current executive committee is just so say all. And so a lot of mistakes have been made. But just to specifically answer your question, we talk about the issue, we mentioned about the issue of grassroots football. Like I mentioned, the way we've been running BYC, we set for ourselves a target of 4 years, the first 4 years, which we are completing right now. We took the team from what it used to be. It was just one team. Then we realized there was a need for feeder team. So how can that come to the national level? We currently, the issue of under 17, you see that Liberia is not participating in any of these youth tournaments. The under 17, under 20, under 21. It is just this one national team, and the way it is structured, tomorrow people just send lists of people who are playing in, substandard league in Malaysia or in Bangladesh, and they just send them the fact that they are playing out. They just bring them to the national team. No preparation. Everything is ad hoc, and then we run into a league. So what we want to advise the president. We want to say, look, Mr. President, in as much as we want to do this, but look, we want to support your idea, but this is another way we need to look at it. Let's look at other options. And once we're challenging him to think critically, we think the president means well. And in that case, he will be able to move the process forward rather than people who just come and just say, oh, yeah, that's how it is. So most of the people he has said that he's going to support in the process, just do an interview with some of the stakeholders. They will tell you some of these people are not challenging, they're not contributing anything. They just go, and just say, yes, this is it. No, we want to support the agenda of the president. But we want to critically support the agenda of the president by challenging the president, so we all look at it and think. So we want our youth participate in those programs, but we don't want ad hoc arrangement. For example, our female team, they've just arranged a female team that is going to Sierra Leone to go and participate in the March 8th, some international women, something over there. It's just everything is done in an ad hoc way. We want a program. So we want to help to develop a program. We want to help to engage, our corporate institutions so that the teams, what the teams are getting, the teams deserve better. They're able to get better. But we need people who will be able to challenge, who will be more creative. So it is those new creative ideas we are bringing that we help the president to think. We're not going to go fight the president. We want him to think, and we want to push him to think. Not for people to just say, oh, yeah, it's all right, Mr. President, without challenging them. At the end of the day, we remain where we are.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mr. Shana, you've been here, you've been back for a while now. Anything you would like to differ with quickly before I take the next caller?
No, I can't differ with my big brother, Sekou. Sekou has a tremendous amount of experience as president of BYC Liberian football. He has very limited experience as vice president a position he aspires for, a position that I have 4 years of experience, and I understand the dynamics of the Liberian Football Association as a vice president, and I know that you work at the pleasure of the president as per the statute. These are not new statutes. These are FIFA statutes that they pass down to every member organization. Liberia did not invent the rule, and we are not trying to reinvent the wheel. Every member organization, including the very United States that you reside, their structure is a FIFA structure where the vice presidents work at the will and pleasure of the president. It is intended to have less chaos and to be able to be more effective. And I think that this administration has accomplished a lot. And there are things that could be better and could be stronger. We intend to have good people on the executive committee. But from what I'm hearing from Mr. Konneh, it sounds like he should have ran for a position on the executive committee because he seemed to be also wanting to change the executive committee as well as change the vice president position. So, you know, it's unfortunate because Sekou belongs in football. He's done a lot. He belongs in the decision-making rank and file, and he's an asset. But unfortunately, it's difficult for you to work with a president that has clearly stated that he supports his vice president. I think also Sekou should have run for president if he feels this strongly that LFA is not working. You know, I work at the pleasure of the president. So if he's saying this administration is not doing well, then he should have challenged the president instead of challenging the vice president, which basically the only power I have is the power that the presidentability gives me. And I've been very effective. That's why he wants to run with me again. If presidentability came to me and said, listen, Musa, you're my friend, but I think that you would be better suited doing something else or on the executive committee or outside of football or working with a club, I would immediately step away from Liberian Football Association. I'm contesting because I have won the trust, the faith, and the loyalty, and I've also established my credibility and gained vast experience as vice president. So this is why I'm contesting.
Yeah, okay. Quickly though, if the LFA was structured the way you, Honorable Shana, and Honorable Muntability making it to look, and I mean, if you're structured in a way that your functions, it was entirely dependent upon what the president gives you to do, then I'm left to wonder, why is it even an elected position? Why wasn't the president allowed to, for instance, pick his own president if the president is not going to have any more power other than what's given to him or her by the president?
Am I still on or am I muted?
Yeah, you're on.
My brother, Mr. Host, those are very good questions. But I believe, and I cannot speak for FIFA, I mean, those questions are better answered by Mr. Blatter, who is the president of FIFA, because, like I said, LFA statute mirrors the FIFA statute, and it's a FIFA mandate that the only way you can receive financial support from FIFA is to have your statute mirror the statute of FIFA. So this philosophy is not an LFA-invented philosophy. Mr. Bility did not sit down and invent this strategy by himself. This is something that has, and Mr. Bility also contested a lot of issues in the statute where he was suspended by FIFA. So we have fought against some of the FIFA thing. We don't just take information from FIFA and not fight. But in the end, football is a family. Football is a fraternity. Football is intended to create harmony amongst its executive committee. We want to get away from Mr. Konneh spoke about a boxing ring. I think we are already in a boxing ring. So, we cannot say that we're not in a boxing ring. We are entering into a boxing ring now. But it intended that after the ring closes, we should all be brothers and work together for football. We cannot change the law. The law is the law. It was approved by the various stakeholders that are going to go contest. So if Mr. Konneh has a problem with the law, he voted for the law. So I don't understand where is the confusion. He knows very well the statute. He has read it and perused it very carefully. He knows that as vice president, it's going to be difficult if he doesn't have the trust and support of the president to execute any of the wonderful ideas that he has executed at BYC. I will not also be surprised that the BYC structure is very similar. He is the president of BYC. I'm sure he supports his vice president fully. When he travels, the vice president is acting president. He must have his confidant. He must be someone he trusts. So at the end of the day, these structures are mirrored also by our clubs. So it's a situation that exists and a situation we must continue to use to benefit Liberian football.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shana. Mr. Konneh, unless you care to add, I'd like to take my next caller. Is that all right?
Yeah, go
Okay, all right. So our next caller will be Honorable Mr. Brother Senior Yewula, an associate of the Liberian Diaspora Forum, a strong, member member of the show, I must say. He's very good at publicity. Both here now mistakenly informed the audience that we were hosting Sekou Damati Konneh. That was in error. So now we know it's a different Sekou. So, Mr. Sina Yewule, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, welcome to the show. Your question, comment, or concern?
Our great and dynamic host. I mean, I couldn't agree.
Hello?
Speak for us. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You want to go ahead,
Yeah, I know you speak for us, but let me, if with the permission, let me also join you to say to the audience, we brought in, I would think we brought in the red Sekou. I think, I'm made to wonder the same question you asked, Kafuma. I think that question speaks volume to what really prepared this conversation. And let me go on record. So
your line is breaking on and off. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with your line.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're clear. Go ahead.
Listening to Mr. Sekou Konneh, like I said, I think we brought the red Sekou in my view. Yes, right. I think I can safely say Liberia will remain someday a better country because of people like Sekou Konneh who still living around Liberia, who still live there, people like him who are waiting to see that the right thing is done, despite the ill-conceived and also misplaced protocol of FIFA down to the level of LFA. Listen to the two, the president and vice president. You know, it makes you to wonder what kind of organization are they running. Are you telling me that the vice president is elected, then at the same time working at the pleasure of the president? I don't know what statute or structure says that, but I think it's contestable. Because if you, like you read this, Kafuma, if you want that such structure where the vice president works at the pleasure of the president, then the vice president should be handpicked. That's how you do it. But when a man is elected, then you say he works at the pleasure of the president. Okay, that's true. Then he doesn't have the right to question the president. Then what kind of environment is that? So, I mean, I just thank God for people that Sekou Konneh, you know, who stay around, not the rebel leader Sekou Konneh, but this particular Sekou Konneh on the phone us today, who stay around to raise this kind of question. If I listened to him, I was so moved. He said these are some of the verses that help destroy our country, and which is very true. Because we didn't have the guts to ask our leaders the hard question. So they thought they were above the scar. Yes, and Musa Bedete telling us on the phone that the man can do nothing without me. You know, in that kind of boisterous tone. And so I said, okay, I'll be willing to work with whomever is selected to make the right thing happen. But he's saying already that he's dismissing this goof son of Liberia, that the man can do nothing without me. I have to tell him to do it, but he do it. What kind of structure is that? So the man can ask you, Mr. President, let's do the right thing. Mr. President, this is wrong for the institution. Mr. President, this is okay for the institution. But no, you want somebody who can say, move, the person moves. Sit, the person sits. That's not structure. You know, that's not structure. You know, that's just playing to the temptation of let it be, you know, and go have your own will. But thank God people that Sekou Konneh stay around to raise the moral question, and I want to encourage you. You know, I will pray that God help you to win, because I know our country sometimes we're not fortunate to elect the kind of people like you. You know, people like you get hard time winning because our people don't understand the truth. But we will pray that God will help you to win. And when you win, yes, don't go boxing with him, but asking a hard question. Hold him accountable. Let him be accountable to you, the officials, and to the Liberian people. He does not make LFA. He made LFA there, and he will leave LFA. Somebody else will come after him. So he shouldn't make LFA to be his personal stuff. It's not his personal stuff. That's why Liberians are up. I mean, it's what it is today, because people just think that they own the institution. You know, so I just want to agree with you, Mr. Sekou Konneh. God bless you for the hard work and do the right thing. Thank you. Thank you for taking the call, Chief. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Yewule. Mr. Konneh, Mr. Konneh, do you care to add to that? I think that sounded like a support to you for me. Support for you. It sounded like to me. Would you have anything to add?
Yeah, basically, I think he has said the key thing here. I mean, if anybody listening who wants for this country, for the development of any structure, listen to what the president just said in that kind of tone. It clearly says, I mean, what it brings to bear is the fact that there is a structure that is not questioned. That's not how it is. Look, the statute they're making reference to now is a statute that was just approved by the stakeholders a few weeks ago. But 4 years running, they've been running on the old statute. That statute, the statute they're making reference to, just took effect a few weeks ago when the stakeholders met and just, approve of it because that's how it was modeled after FIFA. But what we are saying, the way the president has said, it's just the way, things have been done, and those are the kind of people he wants around him. What we are saying is that, look, it's not about, it's not about individual. It's not anybody's private domain. But what we are saying, if we are not raising the critical issues that will help all of us, because those who are in football, you mean well before you got to think critically before you get involved in football, because you spend all your money into running the game with the players' attitude and all of these things. But what we are saying is that if we are not raising the question, like I asked the question about the issue of the bus, that was never answered. It never, it was never addressed when it was announced at the forum in Buchanan that the FA spent X amount of dollars on the bus, and that bus was taken. Players were put down from the bus. But so what we are saying is that we need a structure that will enable all of us to be accountable. Accountable to those who elected us. That's the point we're raising.
Okay. Mr. Konneh, though, LFA Chairman Benetton wants to come in, but quickly, though, the statute that you said was approved just a few weeks ago, regardless of whether it was approved a few weeks ago, a few days ago, a few hours ago, do you understand that were you to be elected as the next LFA vice president for administration, that it is that statute that was recently approved according to you that you will have to work by, and so that means you will do nothing more than Mr. Ability tells you. Do you understand that, regardless of how you feel? Because it is a statute, it's been approved by the stakeholders, as you correctly acknowledged.
I read the statute thoroughly. The issue is the statute outlined a structure, but it did not say that you cannot ask those questions that will help you, because it has to be put into context. It has to be put into context. The way football is run in, we know the statute, the way it's structured, that's how it is done all around the world. But given the local context, look at other countries. People are raising critical issues. If those issues are not raised, that issue doesn't have anything to do with statute. It's about asking the moral question.
It sounds to me like you are going to challenge. It sounds to me that you are challenging not just Musa Shana, who is occupying a position you want, but it sounds like you are also challenging Musa Ability, who is the greatest beneficiary of the statute that is in question right now. So if your intention is to go to LFA and pick up a statute that is working for them, how much more can you see yourself accomplishing, short of, outside of arguing about statute? Doesn't it make sense, for a smooth administration? Let's think about it. In fact, does this now make it clear why Musa Ability supports his current vice president, since that's who's prepared to work with the statute and work with him? It sounds like you are going, to start a whole different, a game, especially with respect to statute.
No, absolutely not. I'm not challenging Musa Ability, neither I'm challenging Musa Shano. I'm challenging a system. Okay. I'm questioning a system that has nothing to do with the structure. That system is not supported by the structure. What we're saying is that, look, honorable host, for heaven's sake.
Right.
What statute will tell you that if you spend $1, you should not report to the stakeholders who elected you? No statute will tell you that.
Okay.
So it's about giving them basic information that they need. And let them ask the question. He's aware that when we go to Congress, we do ask questions, we do debate the issues. And so I'm not challenging Musa, I'm challenging a system that is not supported by the structure.
Okay.
So that statute is different. The statute didn't say you don't question what is happening. You don't question why logically this is happening, this one is not happening.
Okay.
This is simple logic.
Thank you. Yep, thank you. Coach Sila, I'll take you very soon. Let's hear from. By the way, we have 21 minutes left. We've been here going on 2 hours now. So in 21 minutes, we should be able to wrap up here. So those of you, and there are many of you here, those of you who haven't had a chance to ask a question, make a comment, or express concern, by all means, please dial *61. I got some of you here. You may keep them coming. We got less than 25 minutes left of this show. So let's hear from Musa Belete, and then we'll go to Coach Kasimu Sila. Chairman Belete, welcome back to the show. Your clarification, comment, or concern.
Thank you. First, I just wanted to say that regarding Mr. Konneh's point, the issue of the boss, I didn't answer it because I felt that, I don't think we should run this campaign with this information. All right? We bought a boss for the national team, and we did not agree the terms of the boss with the boss owner. We returned the boss, and immediately we bought another one. We've had that boss for almost a year now. And for Mr. Konneh to come and say that boss was taking for the national team, and then did not say that indeed the national team has a boss right now, I think that's not fair. I don't think this is the way we should go. But on the general issue, the brother who was talking, that I was talking boisterously, the problem we have, especially with those of our brother there who are in this place, when your friend is talking, and you should listen to yourself too, because you yourself were talking, but I'm the president of the Liberian Football Association. We do not intend to run Liberian football different from the way CAF is running CAF, or FIFA is running FIFA, or the NBA is run. What do I mean by that? Do you know who is the past president of CAF? You don't know him. He doesn't function. Do you know who is the past president of FIFA? There are 5 past presidents of FIFA. Do you know one of them? Do you know their function? No. You don't know him. He doesn't function. David Stern of the NBA has been there for over 20 years. I think he just retired. Did any one of us know who was the deputy commissioner of NBA? No. That's how sport is run. Sport is not politics. Sport is an organization that is run with the head directly in charge of the rest of the team. So Sekou was executive committee, and I'm sure the stakeholders will ask him, all of what you want to hold this administration for, what did you hold the administration that you were in for? What was the accountability that you exercised? You are making it to look like today we do not have a youth program. That is not true. I think that's misinformation. We have all of our national teams currently engaged. We have under 17, we are playing next month. Under 20, we are playing the following month. We are in all of the competition. The women's football, we are trying to organize it, so that's why we are going for friendly matches so that we can get a team that we can work with. We have organization, we have structure. That's why BYT, for instance, can have the team and have the kind of cooperation that they are having from the LFA without any intervention. It is not on the book that we should not intervene with you and run your international matches. It is not. But it is because of the way we have managed ourselves. So if you're talking about executive committees don't agree, and then you said that the Rochelle issue was referred by FIFA, that is not true. And that is a misinformation. The Rochelle issue was dealt with by LFA. I'm very proud to say again that this is the first time in the history of Liberian football that we have 3 branches of football that are not interrupting with each other. For the first time, we have an executive committee member has been suspended, and that suspension was lifted by our judiciary branch, who had more power than the executive committee. But Sekou was in an executive committee that expelled 8 members, put them together and expelled them, and put together new how you call it, Congress and expel those people. Why he doesn't want to talk about that? I do not think that Sekou can be vice president by saying that he is going to attack the system and then think that he's not attacking the president. I'm presiding over this system. I'm the supervisor of this system. I'm the director of this system. If you attack the system, you attack me. And like I said, if you want to come...
Well, Mr. Chairman, it's a system that you met in place, though.
What?
It's a system that you met in place. You did not invent the system. If I understood all of you right, it's a system that was there when you got there. So if someone thinks that there's something not right with the system, what's wrong with challenging system? What's wrong with that?
Well, what I'm trying to say is that he was member of a system that is worse than this system that was replaced. What did he do when you were in the executive committee? What is he on record for? Okay?
I can say that.
He's not a new project officer. He's a former executive committee member. All right? Didn't they expel other people, their colleagues, 8 of them? All right? What we sitting down here and football was crumbling to 0, and even club were boycotting league, and you have only 8 clubs participating in league and club boycotting league. We haven't experienced that.
All right. We got to leave it there, Mr. Chairman. Let's leave it there for now. Thank you for those strong, words of clarification. Mr. Konneh, unless you want to jump in quickly, I'd like to take Coach Kasimu Sila now. Mr. Konneh, do you care to add anything?
Yeah, I just want to, maybe challenge the president to think critically. He knows very well that structure that I was part of, I challenged that structure. It was because of my challenge of that structure and the structure did not want to change, that we decided that the best option is to change that structure. I'm on record for that. And that's why we were in the forefront of trying to transform. And that's why we ensure that those who did not conform, we made sure we voted them out through the democratic process. And I was in the forefront of that. He's aware of that. That brought into full their leadership because we challenged it, and openly we challenge it. So that is no secret. I mean, that I'm on record for that. So I'm not going to, this is something he's aware of. So this is not something I'm going to drag. That very executive, he himself was part of that executive committee. Mr. Bility.
Thank you. Let's hear from Coach Kasimu Sila. Mr. Sila, welcome to the show. Kasimu Sila from Georgia, Atlanta.
Thank you very much, honorable host. One of the things that I would consider disturbing is the way and the manner in which you have handled this forum. We thought that Sekou Konneh was coming to put forward his platform, but it had been turned into a debate. And we also will have advised, if we know that another day will be good for a debate. However, since now that it has been turned to a debate, we must look forward to another day. But let me also begin to say that the Honorable Musa Bility, my friend and brother, whom also close connected to, is doing the best. But who he needs is Sekou Konneh to work with him. The reason for that is the way the LFA administration is structured. Even the staff needs somebody like Sekou Ayatollah Konneh to be on that bike to make sure that the comprehensive youth development program is in progress, to make sure that the referee committee that are administering game, selling game, taking bribes are looked after, to make sure that the medical facilities for the national team and the hosting of national team players coming to Liberia are put into place. One would have that I want you to refresh on. In the case of Patrick Duplan, one of our professional players that came in was received by Musa Shana, took him to his house, and the man decided to leave, that he should have been in a hotel, not at his house. He went to his girlfriend's place and died there. Up to present, we have not heard. We have no transparency on that. All right? So who Honorable Ability, who I know to be a hard-working man, very down-to-earth need, is Sekou Ayatollah Konneh to be able to strengthen his administration. Sekou is not against Musa Bede, but he wants to help restructure the system because he has the charisma, he has the ingenuity, he has the passion for it. That is why every day you go on the football field, you will see him there. And the president of the LFA travel or not. You travel to attend international conferences, so you need somebody like Sekou. And I must admit today that the LFA with Musa ability, yes. Player teams are registering free, yes. The employee salary raise, yes. Insurance, yes. I would admit. But I can also say to counteract that this is the first time that we have also received more than $4 million from a sponsor company to sponsor the LFA. So money comes in, so money must be spent, but we don't know. But the question is, we need a comprehensive and a strong leader to work with Musa ability who trying to work hard. We need a strong leader, not a yes-sir leader, not somebody that will work at the way and pleasure of Mr. Ability, but to work along with Mr. Ability to be able to advise him, to be able to challenge him positively for the progress and the development of football. Again, I'd like to say thank you for having me. Mr. Sekou Konneh Ayatollah is the best man to work along with a leader that wants to move Liberia football. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sila. And as I told Mr. Wale earlier, I've made it clear over and over, even Mr. Musa Shana, Musa Belete, all of them aware that our invited guest here today was Honorable Sekou Konneh. But as I said, I have Honorable Musa Belete in my database, so every time we have show, when I send our information, he gets the information. He's been on this show. And I will argue that their presence on the show, if it has not helped the show, I don't think it's made it any worse. But I agree with you. If there's need for Mr. Konneh to come back at another day to just re-platform for all to listen to doing the entire show, that's okay by me. We never turn down anybody. Very rightly, we would turn down any guest. So if that's what he wants to do, we'll be more than happy to arrange that. Now, Mr. Shana, there was an allegation made by Coach Sila that the Lone Star player was taken to your house, who shortly left and went to the hotel and died under some suspicious circumstances, and not much has been said for that. Do you care to address that, Mr. Shana?
Well, the unfortunate passing of Patrick Dopla was a sad event for Liberian football. There were several players that we had to accommodate due to their late arrival because they had midweek matches, and unfortunately there were no hotel rooms in the city of Monrovia. This is about 2 years ago, that were vacant. They could only be put in the hotel the next day. So I have several apartments in my apartment complex. They are very luxurious apartments, and 3 or 4 of our professionals stayed there. And Mr. Dopla, who has a home, some of our players don't have homes in Liberia. Mr. Dopla chose to go to a girlfriend's home, and unfortunately, a tragic situation occurred. There was no foul play. There was no lack of organization. It's just sometimes these things happen, and fortunately, you have a vice president who has several different homes who were able to provide a home for some of our top professional players. And the next day they moved on to the hotel that was available for them at that time. So these situations occur, and you need to have people who can step in and solve the problem without depending sometime on the institution. These things happen. Unfortunately, you cannot calculate everything down to a T. But what is a little bit surprising to me, Mr. Host, is that Mr. Kasumu is a little bit confused because when he was here 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I forgot when he was here, I believe that he had given me his support So I'm not sure what transpired on the flight over to the United States, but he has transformed his support to my dear brother, Mr. Konneh, which is his democratic right. But in the same voice, he is commending Mr. Bility, who on this very program has said that his vice president take credit for all his success, as well as the executive committee and all of the challenges that we face. So I'm not sure which side Kasumu Sila stands on, but nevertheless, I wish him all the best with everything he do. He has proven to be someone who sometimes you're not sure where he stands. So I wish him all the best. But nevertheless, we are trying our best. My president has spoken. We'll continue to be loyal servants of the Liberian Football Association and the stakeholders that have given us this platform to serve them, and we ask them again for their support. And for people who don't understand the LFA structure, I think the president spoke on that. It's a very dynamic structure. It's not national politics. It's sport. And sometimes in sport, you need to have structure that is different from a political structure, because you need to be able to take decisions just like a coach or just like a captain on the pitch. I don't think the coach draws his lineup and then it's put to a vote by the fans. So there are some rules that are different in sport, and LFA is no different from that.
Okay, all right. Folks, I will want to take four more calls, and then you may stop down. You start 6-1 there. Take 4 more calls, just as to allow our speakers, especially our official speaker of the day, to make a decent closing remark. And also, I'll take a few more calls. We will call it a night. Honorable Konneh, if you care to add to the last things that were said between Mr. Coach Kasimu Sila and Mr. Musa Shana. If you want to add anything in between, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll take my next caller.
Yes, go ahead with your next call.
Okay, all right. We'll take a call from D. Flomo, D. Flo Flomo, the host of Destiny Debater. Mr. Flomo, welcome to the show.
Yes,
question, comment, or concern? Yeah.
Thank you, Customer Kruma. My name is Steve Lamont. I call you from the state of Minnesota, to be exact, Brooklyn Park tonight. I want to say thank you to your guests tonight, to Musa Bereti and the other brothers who are there. I think in a democratic process, it's almost like the LFA is almost like politics. Well, looking at it from the other side, if you see it from a political view, Musa Bereti happened to be talking about, giving his loyalty to his support to the current man in charge. I think it's a great thing, because every person wants to have a person that you have a good human relationship with. That is no way to say that the system should not be challenged by another brother from the University of Liberia. That's Kruma, is that right? Am I correct? Kruma or Konneh?
Konneh.
I think it's a great thing. Nobody should be batching Musa Bereti. It's a process. If I'm in charge in a place like that, I would like to have a person that I will have a good human relationship with. That is how it is in the United States or over the world. So we should be happy that Musa Bereti is willing to work with somebody. That is no way to say that the other brother too cannot challenge the system. It is a great thing. So I just wanted to throw that out there for them.
Thank you, Mr. Flomo. Your contribution is highly appreciated. So let's hear from 5741, 5741. Your name, where you're calling from, and your question for any of our guests. Sekou Konneh, 5741.
Mr. Kafuma, thank you. This country ball here.
Where are you calling from, country ball?
Oh, I'm calling from NYC, yo.
What's NYC, man? I don't understand slang. What's NYC? What's that?
New York City.
There you go, New York City. All right. So what's your question, comment, or concern?
Yeah, of course I need to have a question, because it's about my country, and this country boy here, I have some concern. My concern here is, if I'm wrong, Mr. Sekou Konneh can correct me. The bylaw or the statute that the Liberian Federation Association is running by right now was voted by Mr. Sekou Konneh. He was part of it. Is that correct? If that is correct, the rules and the bylaw I think Mr. Konneh got to comply with that. The thing that you voted in for, the thing that you voted for, and at the end of the day, you say you want to challenge the system you put in place. I'm not getting that. I want you to go into detail. Did you agree on the statute that is right now in place?
Well, then Mr. Konneh told us not too long ago that there were different statutes that were voted upon by stakeholders just a few weeks ago, different from the ones he voted on. I think he already made that clear, Country Boy.
No, I didn't get that part. Okay. If that's the case, my question to Mr. Sekou is like, does he have any personal issue with Mr. Birdie? That's number one. And number two, he has a club that he got a better deal, which is the BYC2.
Right.
And Mr. Birdie is saying he's trying to talk about transparency here. But if you believe in transparency, and there is a law that you got to contribute, that you have to make a deal, and you did not do that, is that correct?
I don't know. So that's number two. So what's the third question?
Yeah.
That's it?
If that's then the third question would be, if you did not pay any deal, will you be competent of that position? Because if you talk about transparency, and you not kind of a little bit transparent, I want to get that question clear. If you've been paying a deal from day one, then I will be in love with you. But if you just not...
What sort of deal are we talking about here? Because Musa Belete has indicated that under his LFA administration, clubs are allowed to participate in many activities free without having to pay due, without having to write a check. What kind of deal? Can you be a little bit specific, sir?
Okay. Every club in Liberia need to pay a due to the LFA, the Liberia Football Association. You got to pay a certain due. And it seems to be Mr. Sekou that have not been paying due. And that's a violation of the statute of the NFL. So I want to understand.
Let's give him a chance to respond. Let's give him a chance to respond to your questions then.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Konneh? Have you been paying due for your club? Oh, look, Mr. Konneh line just dropped anyway. Check right now. All right, Country Boy, Mr. Konneh line just dropped. Oh, Mr. Konneh line. Who is this? Who's calling this number? Oh, All right. Mr. Konneh is back with us, only for different numbers. So, Mr. Konneh, did you get Country Boy's question? Have you been paying your dues for your club to LFA regularly?
Oh yes, they can attest to that BYC is one of the clubs that meets up with its obligation at all times.
Okay.
But I think if I understood him, his question about if I participated in approving the statute and why am I challenging? I'm not challenging statute. I think he didn't follow the discussion. We're not challenging statute.
He also wanted to know if you have any personal issue with Musa Belete. That was one of his questions too.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely. We're friends. We were just on the feed today. All of us. They went to chair BYC that represents Liberia. Okay. Right now in the cup. Yeah, we have good relationship. Musa Channel can attest to that. But that has nothing to do with, our desire to ensure that we participate in the process that we all have a right to participate in.
Okay. All right. I'll make Coach Kasim Sila my last caller just because he's been accused of flip-flopping support. For lack of a better term, when he was in Monrovia a few weeks ago, he supported, at least he showed some support to Musa Shana, and then on his way to the state, according to Shana, he might have changed his mind to now support Mr. Konneh. So because of that, let's give him a few seconds to respond to that quickly. Coach Sila, quickly here, we're out of time. What do you say? Are you supporting both candidates?
No. Quickly, Mr. Sano, correctly said from the beginning that during the first elections, I supported him, thinking that former national team players that have played the game could bring changes to the platform of the LFA, and also all of the candidates had a separated debate. And during that debate, Mr. Sano said to the Liberian sporting public what he's going to do. All right? So coming back to say that I met him in Monrovia, of course, met him in the street, and said to me that, hey, we got to meet. Yes, we got to meet. We lifetime friends. Yeah, I will support you as a friend because you and I play on the national team. We traveled together in Mexico, 2001. Okay, we lifetime friends. We all former national team players of Liberia, but that had nothing to do with the development of football. I was at the Anthony Tubman Stadium every day. Every day I was there training kids, youth from everywhere, Slayway, Spinsway, Mr. Konneh was there, other people were there. This is the program. Even Musa Berde, the president, even gave me 10 gallons of gas to run around and selected me on a pool of coaches that will help develop Liberia youth football. He knows that. So Mr. Berde supported, but one day, with my 2 months and a half, I did not see the vice president for administration at the Anthony Tubman Stadium, and that's correct. He can tell me that we have never met on our feet, and you can also ask the Liberian sporting public that every time Coach Sila go to Liberia, where he is. I got my office at the ATS. So coming back to say that I'm supporting both candidates, no. I am supporting Honorable Sekou Konneh, that are known to be a gentleman of his word. He's reliable, he's competent, he's credible, and of course he has the passion for the game, and he believes in comprehensive sport development program. To conclude, I'd like to appeal to the president of the Liberia Football Association, Mr. Bede, if you would just please coordinate with the Liberia, with the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the government of the Republic of Liberia. The national team is personally homeless. The home of the national team, I know people say the national team is being owned by the Ministry of Youth and Sports, but at the end of the day, when the national team don't perform, the weight falls on you. The complex at the SKD Sports Complex is taken away and given, the hotel is taken away and given to Chinese people for some 8 years, for 30 years contract for some $8 million. Can we revisit that contract? Yes. Mr. Sekou Konneh is advocating for that too. So we're asking the president at this time to try in his own way to coordinate with the youth and sports, to coordinate with government, at least even if it's one floor out of the 4 floors, because we have 4 floors, it's just one floor, so that the national team will not be homeless, so we will not have players trying to live in somebody's house because we never had a hotel. Those are problems that we want to develop on. So that I know the Honorable Sekou Konneh will want to vouch for that. He will help Mr. Bede to move the administration forward. It's not hatred. We're all friends. But where you put your money, like Brad say, is where you put your mouth. I got a 3rd division team. I had a 2nd division team. I got a foundation. I wrote the FA personally for a duty free to help me, recommend me. I did not get a reply. I stayed, uploaded a photo container. Honorable Sekou was there. Everybody else was there. We run the program. We assisted. We donated balls all over Liberia. And that's what we stand for. It can't just be Kasumu Sila. I need more leaders. I need more Liberian sports public that will develop football, that will help Liberian football to develop so that the morale of the sporting public of Liberia will be boosted to have a national team. Again, Mr. Bede, thank you so much for coming on the show. Mr. Sano, thank you so much for trying to help. But my man and the man who I believe in is Sekou Konneh. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Silat. That was our last call for the day. I'm not going to take another call. We will take turn on with each of these gentlemen here for closing remarks, and see from that we will call it a night. I will take Musa Shana first. Mr. Shana, Coach Sila is now flip-flopping. He's very firm in his support for Mr. Konneh. You just heard that. So in your closing remark, can you touch on that, sir? Do you have anything to Or are you clear about that now? Maybe I should say it that way. Your closing remark.
Well, I'd like to thank you again for having me on this program. I think it's a rich program, and it's been fun. It's been fun. It's been exciting, and it's good for Liberian football for people to hear the different ideas and the people who run Liberian football. Quickly on Mr. Sila, it's his democratic right to choose the candidate that he wants to support. Maybe before the election he will flip again to on my side. Obviously, he's proven to be somebody who likes to flip, so it's not a problem, but it's his democratic right again to flip. The only thing I have to say is, I said it from the beginning, Mr. Host, it's unfortunate that Mr. Konneh and myself will contest a position in the Liberian Football Association hierarchy, because Mr. Konneh has a tremendous amount of experience and a lot to offer to Liberian football. I wish there was another way for all of us to contribute to Liberian football, because I think together we can all share our ideas. I am from football. I grew up in football. I dedicated my life to football. I got my education because of football. I made money playing football, and I continue to spend money in football. There's all kind of way people spend money in football. Today, I bought over 20 tickets for BYC games. I believe if I don't, I'm not president for club, but I'm still spending money in football. Numerous clubs have received different support from myself personally, but that is not the issue. The real issue here is, with the structure as it is set up, you need to have a vice president that the president trusts 100%. That is the bottom line. And if the president doesn't trust his vice president 100%, it creates a situation of uncertainty. And uncertainty leads to anxiety. Anxiety may potentially lead to chaos. And we don't want a chaotic institution. Liberian Football Association, historically, especially the recent history over the last 10 years, under the leadership of Isaiah Wesley, was a constant barrage of different people fighting different people. Liberian Football Association, we want to remove that dynamic, and we have had our issues, but nevertheless, we are moving forward. So my president has spoken about other issues, but I just wanted to make that point. So I'll thank you so much for having me on this program. And I wish Sekou also the best with BYC, and we'll see each other, I'm sure. And, let the campaign start.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shana, and it's been a pleasure having you on. So let's hear the closing remark from Chairman Musa Belete. Chairman Musa Belete, before you begin your closing remark, Lord, this is the big elephant in the room. What we are hearing is that with the main reasons why, as to why you support Mr. Shana, your current Vice President for Administration, one of the reasons why we are told that you are so reluctant to support Mr. Sekou Konneh is the idea that he's a Madingo man, that you cannot envision, having two Madingo people at the executive of the Liberian Football Association. How do you respond to that allegation?
My brother, thank you very much. In my whole life, I've never seen trap. I've never seen trap. That's how I live my life. Sekou is one of the best things that happened to football. And I believe, Musa Shano said it all. I wish that we would be at different point where I will have the opportunity in the executive committee to work with both Musa and Sekou. Because, look, it is just human and natural. Even Sekou Konneh will not respect me as his president if I do not support openly, conscientiously, the vice president that has served me and served me well and loyally. Even Sekou himself would not respect me. It is a situation where I think we all made some effort to avoid. But in the end, I cannot do anything about it. The only thing that I can do right now is to step and to act to support the vice president that have always been there for me. I wanted to say that I think Kasim Sila, as member of the LDF technical team, I will advise my brother, someone that I highly appreciate, to refrain from, even the very football that we're in, there's politics. The technicians must refrain from, being part of the political aspect, because right now it's football politics. You are part of the FA, you are part of the technical team. We want to have you because you have so much that you can offer Liberian football. We want to have you. And the good news is that at least you are not, for instance, you are not a club president, so you are not going to vote. So you should not put yourself in a compromising situation because you don't know the winner. And if Musa Shana wins on the LFA, you are going to be working with him. If Sekou wins, you are going to be working with him. If you tell Sekou that you are a technician, you want to stay a technician, and call him and say, Sekou, I support you, I think that would be better. But if you had asked me, I would have advised you to stay, that way. But I want to thank you, Mr. Moderator. I think, my brother, you have done an excellent job. You are right. I didn't know how this program was going to happen today, but definitely I'm very happy that you gave us the opportunity. This was Sekou's time to show his plan. And we are here. We intend to run a civilized campaign. And in the end, if whoever wins, we all will run football together. I just want every step of the way for all to be very clear that my vice president is Musa Shano, and it is Musa Shano that I'm going to work with no disrespect or disregard to what Sekou Konneh has or to my relationship with him. But it has to do with my honor, it has to do with my respect, it has to do with my appreciation for a man who has served me loyally for 4 years. If I turn my back on him, one day it will be Sekou your turn, and you will not trust me to stand by you. So I have to stand by Musa. I will stand by Musa. I believe in him being my vice president, and that is my position. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Belete. That brings us to our guest for the day, Honorable Sekou Konneh. Mr. Konneh, you have the floor for your closing remarks, sir. No. Just try again. It's been switching phone all night. So, folks, Mr. Konneh line just dropped. I don't know if he's going to come back soon enough to make a closing remark. We've been going through this for quite a while now. He's having bad reception, so he's been switching phones and changing locations. So, we have heard the closing remarks of Honorable Musa Shana, the sitting Vice President for Administration, LFA. We've also heard the closing remark of the Chairman of LFA. We were just about to take a closing remark from Honorable Sekou Konneh, but his line just dropped, so I don't know if he's going to have time to come back in time. We are out of time here. We got other things to move on, and as I said, next Sunday, we'll be hosting Professor Alari Tokwa from the University of Liberia. I understand. Well, let Seyon quickly speak to that since he's inviting him. Seyon, you want to speak to Alari Tokwa's coming on the show next week?
Oh yes. Thank you. I was so glad you're about to make the announcement. But if you ask me, I will. Yes, Professor Tokwa will be on this Sunday. He just came from Haiti, and he'll be visiting Minnesota. Also, we'll be having a honor program for him on the 22nd. So he'll be making different appearances. But I thought our show will be the first show that he will come on, and from there he'll be going on other shows too. Hopefully, D-Flow will be open to that, and also our Jerome show too. Yeah, but he will be here, for a while, and we're very excited to have him. One of the finest Liberians I've known in my life. And thank God for people like Larry Tokwa who stay around to make us know that Liberia is not forgotten. Yeah, so this Sunday on the 9th, he will be on. It'll be a tough one too, and a lot of people already started putting requests to call in, so I know that show will be heavy for you on Sunday. So, but we'll be here to support you, Mr. Moderator, and thank you too. Let me join your guest to say thank you. No wonder why we're part of this show, because you always balance the conversation. So thank you for the good work. Keep on, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, and let me not forget to acknowledge Cecilia. She was here earlier. She's no longer with us, but nevertheless, it's being recorded, so it will be said that she was recognized in her absence. So, folks, our guest, Honorable Sekou Konneh, has now made a comeback, and we are not going to wait much longer. It's unfortunate. I would have loved to hear his closing remark, but time is now on our side, so we will call it a night from here. So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank Honorable Musa Belete, Chairman of LFA, for joining us at such short notice. I want to thank Honorable Musa Shana for also joining us. And most especially, I want to thank Honorable Sekou Konneh for honoring our invitation to be a guest on this show tonight. It's been a great show. If he asks me, that's my opinion. And hopefully we'll do this again. Honorable Belete has been on here many times. He's indicated to me that he will come again and again if we desire him to come. So, good night to all. Let's all have a wonderful night. Stay warm if you are in the Minnesota area. Thanks to all. Good night.